6:43 here on a Wednesday morning. Time now for our Mornings with Metro segment. And today we're joined by Assistant Sheriff Laz Chavez to answer your questions and our questions this morning. How you doing, sir? Good to see you.
Very good.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Let's start talking about something that we've been seeing recently. It's not necessarily a new issue, but it's certainly gotten a lot more attention on social media recently. Street racing, drifting around the valley. What kind of reports are you seeing around town, and what's being done to try and stop these things from taking place?
Yeah, well, what we've seen is it's a bit of a national trend now too. But we're mostly focused on the northeast side of the valley and over on the northwest side of the valley. These reckless drivers, they take over intersections, they drive around circles, they videotape each other. It's a dangerous element for the general public. So we're responding out there as quick as we can, and we're working with community partners. We try to get video of people doing this and help identify some of these drivers and these stunt drivers.
I remember at the beginning of the pandemic we had covered this a lot more because there were fewer people on the streets, and so there was a lot of more folks were taking advantage of that by drifting around and so forth. How quickly can you get out there? I mean, it's not like those folks who are taking part are going to say, hey, by the way, we're drifting out near Nellis. How quickly can you get out there, and how much of an emphasis is it?
Well, you'd be surprised. A lot of times this does go out on social media, so we try and stay ahead of that. We can get our helicopter out there very quickly, and we work closely with the community. We get a lot of phone calls, so we respond as fast as we can. We work with surveillance video a lot of times, and we were able to apprehend a few of the suspects that were out there doing this stuff.
Okay, well, keep an eye on that. Let's switch gears to the coronavirus, and sadly, another sad situation with Metro. 2 more officers have died recently from COVID-19. We've spoken with the sheriff about this before and others with the department. What is the latest with vaccinations and cases within Metro Police?
Yeah, that is sad and tragic, and our prayers go out to the family for their loss. But for Metro, about 56% of our employees now have gotten the first shot. We're moving in the right direction. It's not quite where we want to be. We're following the governor's mandate. Officers are wearing masks, and we're providing lots of opportunity for them to get their vaccine, and even doing some pop-ups at some of the police stations.
I know in the beginning there was, I don't know if it was hesitancy, but there was, there are union rules about mandating vaccines for staff. How is the department and some of the brass trying to not necessarily get around that, but try and make sure that everyone stays safe while still making sure you follow the rules of the contract?
Well, that is a hurdle that we're dealing with. We're trying to work with the unions and accommodate our employees. We do provide as much as we can to them and information. We're on this almost weekly, trying to encourage our employees, civilians and our commissioned officers to get the vaccine.
Okay. Well, with vaccine mandates in place across up and down the strip at some of our large venues, one of the concerns that seems to be coming up is fake vaccine cards. What can you do, what can investigators do to make sure that when folks are trying to get in, they really have it vaccinated? That's going to be a big issue moving forward along the strip, too.
Of course, yeah, and it's really difficult at this point. It's so early on. We're looking at our other law enforcement agencies across the country that are dealing with this. We actually haven't received very many calls at all about this. It's difficult. What do you do to verify these cards? Do you call the hospitals to verify the shots or not? So we're asking folks, please be cautious of that. If you falsify a document, you could be looking at some different charges there too.
It's not like if you're going to Allegiant Stadium to watch a Raiders game and you have a fake vaccine card that you can just call someone. Like that's an instant kind of decision that has to be made whether it's good or not, right?
Right, exactly. And the stadiums and at events are requiring shots, but that certainly is private property. They can make those decisions on their own. And we will do everything we can as this moves on to try to figure out how's the best approach for that.
It is a gargantuan task for Metro and for everybody else.
Yes, it is.
Assistant Sheriff Laz Chavez, thank you for joining us this morning. We really appreciate answering our questions. If you have a question for Metro Police, you can, as always, submit it on 8newsnow.com. We love hearing from you as well. Find out if your question is answered every Wednesday during Mornings with Metro.